Today we are going to discuss about scientific writing. From this session we'll try to assess what is scientific writing, why it is necessary, how we undertake the processes, what are the different forms of writing in science, and how we accomplish all this writing. So now we are going to start a bit about introduction to publication ethics and guidelines. So before starting to write anything, we should understand what is a publication, what are the ethics associated with it, and what are the guidelines that help us, that tell us the rules and regulations associated with these writings. So once we have an idea, we do a research on that, and then we finally decide to make it in a form of a publication. So what does a publication means? Publication means in any type of writing your research results. So if you have done a research, then you should make it public through different forms of publication, may it be abstract, may it be a poster presentation, may it be a manuscript in a journal, or in an article in a book or a magazine. There are different forms of publication where you can actually show what you have done through your research. And if it wasn't published, it wasn't done. It is a common saying by Miller. He says that if it is not published, it isn't done. I mean, you can't tell anybody just as such that I have done any research or I have any idea about any new innovation if you have not published it. So you have to make your research results public in a form of any writing. So that is how we go ahead. So why it is necessary to publish and also get it right? So there are various reasons why we publish our results. So as you can see on the screen, there are multiple reasons associated with it. So you want to be part of your clinical practice, you want to show your results, you want to have your ideas and results into the part of systematic analysis, systematic reviews and meta-analysis. You want to be part of the scientific community where you want to show your presence. Also, you want to give an idea or give an option for other researchers to do a future research, because see, no research is 100% correct or 100% complete. It is correct, but it's not complete. So there are some things which has been left out of any research project. So you have to tell to your audience that still there is a scope of doing and taking this research further, and this will be done only through a publication. You can't just verbally say to anyone, oh, this research can be taken in this direction in future. No, you can't do that. You have to make it through a publication. You want to make your inputs into a decision making. So after your research, you want to make a policy change, you want to recommend to a government for a policy change, or you want to tell your physicians that these are the results. You want to tell the industry that such a molecule which is coming up has a potential. So there are multiple ways where you can influence the decision making through your publication. So publication is the only source through which you can be part of such decision making process. So writing for a publication can be of different ways and different formats. There are ways also and there are formats as well. So techniques, there are different techniques where you can just promptly write anything. It's a free writing, or you first construct a outline. The outlets or the outputs of a publication may be in the form of a conferences where there are orals and posters, or the outlet forms are journals or book chapters or books altogether. So there are different forms, and the writing would depend on both these things: what you are writing and how you are writing, and what would be your outlets or outputs of your writing. So your whole scientific writing process will be influenced or will be guided by these two things. So when developing an outlining or whatever way you want to write, you have to answer these questions before you actually start writing. That who are you as a writer? Why are you writing? How are you writing? Where you are going to publish it? What you are going to include? And when you are targeting to publish it. All these things we are going to discuss in detail in the coming slides. But you have to keep in mind that these questions need answers before or during the process of writing a publication. So there are different guidelines which are available that will help you through the different steps that involved in publication and tell you about what are the things that needs to be taken care while writing for a publication. So guidelines for publication, why we actually need a guideline, why this needs to be understood, that why we need a guideline before we start writing any publication. So there are different reasons associated with it. One is to improve the quality of reporting of a research. See, when we are very novice in writing, then we might have some issues that how to write it. So to have a better quality of reporting of a research, we need the help of these guidelines. Better comprehension of study information by readers. So how your readers would be more linked with your publication, or to increase the readability of your publication, these guidelines help you to how to write. Unbiased evaluation of the validity of results. So that is very important, that whatever you write should be unbiased. When you are making a statement in a public domain through publication, it should be unbiased. So these guidelines will help you tell when the results are unbiased and when it might result in some kind of biasness in your publication. Then we have assessment of strengths and weaknesses of your studies. So through the points which are highlighted in these guidelines, the strengths and weaknesses of the studies will be assessed. Re-emphasizing the transparency, that is again a very important point, where transparency is required in publications, and we need to take care of the things that your results are published in a transparent way. There are code of ethics available for authors, editors and writers. So you are writing as an author, you are taking care of the publication as an editor, or you are acting as a writer for the publication. There are different code of ethics available. So uniform requirement for manuscripts. The ethical consideration are that who should get the authorship of the paper, who would be listed as a contributor. Conflict of interest of all stakeholders in the publication is very important, and privacy and confidentiality of the trial participants. So in terms of authorship, ICMJE tells you that who should be the authors and who should be the just the contributor of the paper. And then there are some editorial issues also which are to be taken care while publishing. One is obligation to publish negative results, that is, you are not only bound to publish only the positive results that you have received from your study. The negative results should also be given equal importance while publishing the results. The reason being, the rest of the community, scientific community who is doing the similar research should be made aware that the results obtained after doing a similar research under the similar conditions would result in negative results and should not be duplicated. That is, it should be published in such a way that rest of the research community should understand that we need to modify the research somehow so that these negative results can be awaited, can be overcome, and the positive results are received. So there needs to be change in a research methodology for that. Then obligation to register the study. There are various societies, there are various agencies which are available to register the study. For example, in clinical trials, you have to register in CTRI or clinicaltrials.gov. So there are these registries that help you track the studies, and overall globally also this will help you. And if everybody in the scientific community is registering for the study, then it would be easier to track which kind of studies are already undertaken and should not be repeated, or redundancy can be removed. Overlapping publications. In order to increase the number of publications, only, otherwise no additional purpose is served through overlapping publication. So overlapping publication should not be done. One set of results should be published only once and should not be repeated again. There are specific reasons why there are guidelines which says that there should not be overlapping publications. When we write the systematic reviews and do the meta-analysis on the results, then duplicate results can cause increase in number of positive or the negative results. Then it might go to a wrong direction. Duplicate results might produce incorrect outcomes. So there should not be overlapping publication over the same type of results, same set of results. Then we have a peer review process where an independent reviewer will review the publication as a layman, so that he or she might understand what is the usability of those results to the society and to that particular journal. And there is editorial freedom. There is no bias as an editor who can influence the inclusion or acceptance of any publication. So there are different requirements or the guidelines available for this. Then for how to work on the manuscript preparation, what are the referencing styles, and how to submit a manuscript to a journal, there are another set of guidelines which are available. So in terms of manuscript preparation, you have different types of guidelines, such as what would be the font size, what would be the table format, what would be how many figures are allowed, what would be the intention, what would be the word count. So there are different guidelines which tell you each and everything that needs to be considered while preparing a manuscript before submitting it for any journal. Now we will see the different types of submissions that we do. So first we will start with an abstract. So what is an abstract? We will try to understand it briefly, at what is an abstract, and then we see what are the requirements for writing an abstract. So abstract is basically a mini manuscript. It has each and everything which is included in a manuscript, but in a lesser words, in a crisp mode, and the most important outcomes are reported in an abstract. But an abstract in itself is an independent part of the manuscript. For a conferences, it is the only part that is getting published and available for citation. For a full manuscript, it is an independent part from the rest of the manuscript. So an abstract is a brief of a research article, a review, Congress proceeding, or in-depth analysis of a particular subject or a discipline. Even a dissertation thesis or any other type of article which you are going to write, even a book chapter, does have an abstract. So it is a brief of what you are writing in detail in the upcoming publication. So why to write an abstract? What is the requirement of an abstract if we have full manuscript after that? So to feed the need of a publisher or a Paris, sometimes what happens, because the full manuscript process, writing and acceptance, does take a very long time. So what we do is generally we try to publish our initial part of results in the form of a abstract to a conference. So which help the rest of the scientific community and the other persons who are your audience to understand that such research is going on. So that is the initial stage where we need to publish. Second thing is, it is the key communication tool. So whenever if you search in a Google for a particular topic, if you find the full text articles of that, first thing that you will read would be the abstract. So that is the first thing that will be linked with your audience. That is the communication tool with your audience. You can communicate your messages through an abstract to the audience. If the audience or the scientific community feels that these results are important and significant for their understanding, they'll go for the full publication read. Third thing where abstracts are considered very important are they are freely available for public access. See, there are a lot of journals which are paid and does not provide the full text access in free. So they are charged. So what is available freely is the abstract. So if the audience or any other person who wants to understand about any particular topic will first read the abstract, and if the abstract is suitable for his needs and requirements and he wants to understand more about the results and the methodology, he will purchase the full article. So abstract is very important. If not written properly, then nobody would be interested in reading the complete article. So it should be written in such a manner that it helps in making connectivity with your audience. Another thing is, for conferences, we submit abstracts, and then it is either presented as an oral or an poster. But in that case, only abstract is the citable source. Posters or the oral presentation are not the citable sources. So it is in that way also, it is increasing the number of citations you have or increase the number of publications you have. So it is making the fourth reason why abstracts are so important and why we should focus on abstract writing so much. So what are the ground rules while considering the writing of a abstract? So must be able to stand alone. That's what I discussed initially also. It is an independent part of the manuscript, or it is a standalone part of the manuscript. It should not be written in an abstract that detailed results are provided in the manuscript or the next paragraph. This is not the way. Abstract should, whatever results we are going to discuss in abstract should be complete in itself. Should follow specific formatting requirements. For every conference or any journal, they have specific requirements for writing an abstract. Sometimes they look for structured abstract, sometimes they look for unstructured abstract. The word count may range from 250 words to 500 words, depending on which type of journal or conference you are proposing or you are submitting an abstract to. Generally, conferences allow you a larger abstract because that is the main source of information that you are providing, while journals have smaller word count limit because full manuscript is followed by an abstract. So there, that all depends what are the formatting requirements from that particular submission platform. Then meeting word count is the biggest challenge. Be brave on removing the things which are not necessary or not that relevant to be included in part of an abstract, because for example, you have written a full manuscript of about 5,000 words and now the abstract count is just 250. That is the biggest challenge, that whatever you have described in 5,000 words, now you have to summarize that in just 250 words. So that is the biggest challenge that we face generally when we write the abstracts. Then know the audience, specialized versus journal. So you have to understand what your audience is. Is it a specialized or a journal audience? What do you mean by specialized or journal audience? For example, when you are submitting for a conference which is very specific to a particular type of audience who would be attending that conference, then you can use the technical language and the technical format while developing the abstract. While in other case, if the audience is not very specific and it is journal, then you need to be very general in writing your words. You should not be that technical that a layman cannot understand. So that all depends that what kind of audience you are having and what kind of submission platform is you are going to use, and keep it simple. See, whatever is their mind should be on your paper. It should not be key that I know this thing, this is very common, this is very general. So reviewer should be knowing this. No, that is not the thing. So keep it simple and think of a reviewer and your audience that you should include everything that is required to understand all the results that you have included in your abstract. Present data appropriately. What do you mean by writing the data appropriately is that the data, if you are talking about numbers, then the numbers should be included into it, and if you are talking about the proportion, then the exact proportion should be written. How many decimal points you are using, that is also very necessary. If you are saying that the data is statistically significant, then the level of significance should be specified, and whatever the limit of error is there, you should mention it. So data presentation is another important thing. And the last point to this is give sufficient time to write an abstract. Don't write an abstract in hurry, because then it would be losing some important things that needs to be included in abstract, but you will miss it. So give a sufficient time to write an abstract, and the best time is after completing your complete manuscript, you start writing the abstract.